Monday on Springer, confronting one night stand.
I am here to announce my retirement from the game of basketball.
So our parents had the summer of 77, but our summer of 77 was the summer of 99. There were heat waves both years, and both summers, the people were gripped with fear. I mean, they had the Son of Sam, and we had Y2K.
Y2K preparedness.
The possibility of Y2K sabotage.
The moment of truth is only 89 hours away.
Or was it more like the summer of 69? I don't know if there was a heat wave that year, but we both had Woodstocks, and Woodstock 99 has a nice fire tie-in to this story.
Certainly the most notorious fire occurred at the Holy Name Church, and that was during the drought of 1999. It was an absolute catastrophe.
No, I get it. Everybody wants to talk about the church fire. The church fire, the church fire. Everybody wants to talk about it. But what they don't want to talk about is the level of heroics that Anthony and I went through to put the church fire out.
Maybe I wasn't even there. Who knows? I was there. I was definitely there. Yeah.
No part of me would ever suspect that Matt Rapice would ever light a church on fire. No. Not my Matt Rapice.
They were never questioned as to what their involvement was with the fire. They actually tried to play it like they were heroes.
You can imagine what that would do to someone who saw in the fire. They might see that red hair and kind of, really get like caught up in that.
He's a good-looking guy. There's no doubt about that. But if you ask me what his eye color was, I'd tell you it was trouble. I've known Anthony Masucci a long time, probably since 6th grade. So I've known him for the better part of 25 years, give or take.
I met Anthony when I was 5 years old. I had just moved into the neighborhood, and his mom brought him over so that we could meet. We were the same age, same height, same size, and we hit it off really well. Actually, from that first meeting, that's when I realized he was quite a bit of a salesman. He convinced me that we should be playing at his house the majority of the time, or all the time, and that seemed to work out pretty well for everybody, including my parents. They didn't seem to have a problem with it at all.
Delran's kind of a town divided in half. On one half, you have more affluent side. On the other half, you'd call the wrong side of the tracks. The elementary schools over there were riddled with asbestos.
Anthony went to a different elementary school, Cambridge, and they closed it down. I think it was because of asbestos or mold. Fire. It burned down.
In 5th grade, they combined the two schools, brought us together a year early in the middle school. That's when I met Anthony.
But I could tell, right when I met him, that he would, appeal to your, I wouldn't say worst tendencies, but certainly your bad tendencies.
He was a regular high school kid. He was athletic, but he wasn't a jock. He was funny. but he wasn't a class clown. He could be a dick, but he wasn't a bully.
Anthony was a bit of an interesting character. He was always coming up with different plans or schemes. He's the type of guy who could follow you into a revolving door and somehow come out in front of you.
He's also the type of guy that if you are gonna order a cheesesteak and you say no onions, he's gonna be the one that orders that cheesesteak for you and ask for onions. Because if you just try it, you might like it.
Yeah, he'd call you up. He'd say, hey, let's go make some prank phone calls. Let's go spit on a ride attendant while we're on the ride. Let's go get Dave's on punched in the face by a 17-year-old.
We've definitely had more good times than bad. He's there to get you out of a jam, but he's also there to be the one to get you into the jam.
But that was Anthony, right? He didn't always have blood on his hands, but more times than not, he was to blame.
How about the time when we were in middle school and he dreamt up this idea for everybody to take a on top of Mount Delran? No idea why. Just thought it would be a funny thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a number of times when Anthony came up to me and I could just see that he was up to no good.
Anthony has come to me with a troubled look in his eye more times than I can remember.
I can't begin to list the number of times he would say things like, hey, let's go kidnap that baby, hold it for ransom, or raise it as our own. I know it was a joke, but who jokes about that kind of thing?
Or how about the time in college when we were visiting a friend of ours and he decided, tonight's the night. I'm gonna punch a kid with glasses right in the face. And he did it. Knocked him clean out.
At the end when you explained, what do we get out of this? He'd say, that's how we get off. I was in 6th grade, I didn't know what that meant. Get off of what?
Yeah, I met Matt Rapice. That goes back all the way to nursery school. We went to the same nursery school. It's called Little Friends. And we became fast friends, actually. My dad was the snack dad. There were a bunch of snack moms, only one snack dad. You don't see that very often, but, that's what it was. And Matt Rapice, he really liked that. He really liked the snacks that my dad was bringing. They were just mostly animal crackers, but not a lot of creativity there.
I've known Matt Rapice since probably 4th grade. I remember meeting Matt and seeing him for the first time at the Tempe Chase fields and just running around like crazy and doing these front flips. And I remember watching him from where I was with my friends and saying, that boy's wild. That boy right there is a wild boy.
Matt is a really likable guy. Gregarious, if I were to use a $10 word. He was the kind of guy you always wanted to bring around your parents. I mean, parents loved him. He had $1 million smile and the charm and charisma to match.
Oh, that Matt Rapice, what a wonderful boy. Those were sentiments often expressed when referring to Matt Rapice.
He was like your all-American kid, nice to everybody, good athlete, track standout. And everybody thought, he was just a nice guy, good looking, funny.
I mean, really, he wanted to be friends with everybody and pretty much succeeded.
Everybody loved him. You're talking about students, teachers, principals, even the lunch ladies had a thing for Matt.
Matt's probably one of the, 2nd or 3rd most handsome friends in the group. He plays that quite well, that innocent character quite well.
I would, really revel in the times when Matt would ask me to be that 4th friend to kind of round out the group, So it was great, Friday nights at Matt's house with, a couple of babes. It was really awesome. In fact, the girl that Matt was seeing, she was a knockout, that's for sure. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Just a beautiful girl. Her friend, she was a nice girl, that's for sure. She was a very nice, also a 10, but more like a 10 out of 100.
I know Matt always had a tough time at home. He kind of wore this happy-go-lucky sheen all the time, but I know he's having a tough time at home, and mostly stemmed from the fact that he could never grow a mustache, and he was always, I think, a little off-put and jealous of me that I could grow a mustache like overnight. In fact, I can grow a mustache faster than that. And if Matt ever saw this, I mean, he would go bananas. You know, his father he would look something like this, and he'd say something like, Matt, you can't even grow a mustache. Get the tape measure. You measure like a woman, Matt. And that was a good thing, to measure like a woman. Mr. Peace always said, you measure like a woman and you cut like a man.
He seemed to get away with a lot of things. I know my dad gave him a nickname from some TV show that played when he was a child. Used to call him Eddie Rascal. Eddie Rascal. Yeah, I guess it was from the Little Rascals.
I think you mean
what's
Eddie
that?
Haskell.
Haskell? No, Rascal.
Yeah, Eddie Haskell.
Haskell?
David the Beaver?
No, I don't think so. It was Rascal. The Little Rascals.
Matt was a great guy, you know, still is. Some people think he might be a bit of an Eddie Haskell.
Gee, Mrs. Cleaver, you even look pretty in an apron.
His parents who really knew Matt, they always called him Eddie Haskell. I've heard it. I've heard the Larsons call him Eddie Haskell. You know, Larson's the first family of Delran.
He does remind me of Eddie Haskell. Hello, Mr. Larson. How's everything going today? He comes up and he's all friendly and everything. And as soon as you walk away, he's like, he was always in the middle of everything, but he never got caught with anything. And he always had that get out of trouble attitude.
If you knew Matt, you knew that he wasn't all Mr. Perfect.
You know, he was clean cut, his hair, he was very fair of skin, you know, for an Italian. But underneath that fair skin, he was just as greasy as the rest of us paisans, you know, and probably more so.
When we got to high school, you know, we would frequently sleep over our friend Michael Ashton's house.
And we'd often sleep over Mike's Friday or Saturday night, or sometimes both. Spend the whole weekend there.
Sleeping over Mike Ashton's house, he never got a lot of sleep. Not only was there a lot of fun going on, a lot of hijinks, but sleeping arrangements were less than adequate.
Mike usually slept on the couch, but he might kick off a cushion for you to sleep on, just one cushion. And
while they would occur in the dead of the summer, it was always very chilly in that house. They kept that place like an icebox with that air conditioning.
If you were lucky, you get a curtain. Yeah.
I remember one time my arms were cold and Mike gave me 2 of his best Sunday socks.
Will you grab a towel?
Crumpled up clothes from his closet to use as a pillow.
Really, just whatever you can grab that was soft.
It was always pretty interesting how things would turn out. I would say mischief was definitely high on a priority list.
It usually consisted of, at one point of the night, terrorizing Mike.
I remember one time, the next morning, Mr. Ashton came down for breakfast. A nice big plate of blueberry pancakes he couldn't wait to sink his teeth into. But there was no silverware anywhere. He couldn't find any utensils, so he checked all the drawers, you know, even looked in the dishwasher. None were to be found. Only come later to find out that Matt and Anthony had inexplicably put all the forks and knives into Mike's bed while he slept.
You know, Matt was always up to something. Matt was rummaging around Mike's garage, and he found some aerosol cans. And he asked me for my new lighter, and he right away just created a makeshift flamethrower. Then he dared me to one-up him, and so, you know, Mike was sleeping in the living room, and so it was a very easy target for me, so I walked up to him, and I lit the back of I just singed the back of his hair. Mike woke up and I just blamed it on his dog Ripley, and we all had more taquitos for breakfast, and that was the end of that.
Tell me about this Joe Grasso. Was he there the night before the fire?
I had a feeling Joe Grasso was gonna get worked into this interview. Yes, he was there. He was there.
That night in particular, before the fire, Grasso had said he had a new hot song called Mambo No. 5.
Lou Bega's Mambo No. 5.
So Mambo No. 5.
Mambo No. 5, huh, Joe?
Mambo No. 5.
Grasso, he was really not the best karaoke guy, but you couldn't get him off that Lou Bega.
Couldn't get him off there. It was Lou Bega all day.
And he played it again and again, and singing it and dancing.
You know, and he danced.
Seeing Joe Grasso react to Lou Bega's Mambo No. 5, it was electrifying. Like a Jimi Hendrix guitar jumping into a hot tub.
He's wearing this straw fedora, this hat.
He had fedora hats like made out of straw.
Even when we would play the video game Street Fighter, he would have to be the character Vega because they were so closely related.
In a way, wanted to be like him. He's got an endless amount of straw fedoras.
I'd say he had at least like 12 different straw fedoras, and they all looked alike.
I think the whole reason he played that song and so much was just to have an excuse to wear that straw fedora. You want to talk about this now? The church fire?
I handed him a lighter. He lit the paper on fire.
Before you know it, the whole place was ablaze.
It was unbeknownst to him that whole field was a bit of a tinderbox because it was engulfed.
Of course, my first concern is that the church itself is completely up in flames.
Now again, I don't really want to focus too much on that and the specifics around that. What I want to talk about is what happened after that, because after that, we sprung into action.
Matt is just with his head in his hands on the curb.
The woods are all on fire, and there's a kid in there stomping out the flames. Are you seeing this?
Very many people wanted to throw around this term hero. Is it a good thing to be called a hero? I don't know. You know, graveyard's full of heroes.